Hey guys, I'm Philo and welcome to Dusk, where today I'm going to be doing something of a movement tutorial showing you how to go fast, how to accelerate, how to maintain your speed, and how to utilize the crazy physics in this game. So we're going to jump right into it. These tricks all work in single player and multiplayer, it's the same. This is a multiplayer map, I'm just here on my own jumping around. One thing you might notice out the bat is that my weapon models are quite small, and they don't move when I move the camera around. By default, the weapon models are kind of like jelly, you know, they sway around a lot. I found that really distracting when I was trying to move. I found it a lot better to have a static gun to kind of point in the direction, but that's up to you, it's kind of a personal preference. So to get the main kind of, I guess, gimmick of the movement here, we're going to come up to the hunting rifle, and I'm just going to walk along here to show you how long it takes, right? So, you know, not very fast, and because in the game of Dusk World, you're going to see people absolutely flying around the map. Dusk World being the multiplayer of this game. So what we're going to do, we're going to stand back here, and I'm going to jump and hold, well, I'm going to hold forwards and left, and I'm going to jump. And I'm going to hold forwards and right, and I'm going to hold forwards and left, and I'm going to kind of swap between the two. And you're going to see I go much, much faster than just walking, right? Now, you don't need to swap between the two. As long as you're holding two movement keys, you're going to accelerate like this. So if I get the angle right and just hold forwards and right, just hold forwards and left, you know, I'm going to go quite fast. But if I want to look forwards, I've got to kind of swap between the two to keep myself on the platform. Okay, and so that's basically the main gimmick of the movement here. You have, it doesn't take anything to accelerate other than just holding keys and jumping. And it's really, really hard to lose speed as well. You basically don't, as long as you're holding two keys and you jump, even if you stop. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So this is a very simplified movement system compared to, you know, Quake games and stuff, where they require you to do certain kind of mouse movements, and it's very easy to lose your speed. This game's very, very easy to pick up, and just so easy to fly around the map in. So one thing I do want to talk about is this concept of momentum in this game. When you accelerate using this, you know, forwards and left, forwards and right movement, I say you build up speed, but you really build up momentum. And let me show you what I mean by this. So if I stand here near these health bubbles, and I'm going to accelerate into... I'm going to try that again. I'm going to accelerate in towards this doorway. You can see I build up some speed, but I don't really start to accelerate massively until I'm through the door. So let's do that again. Let's go. So, you know, it's alright. But now what happens if we kind of stand here on this little gap in the wall, and I'm going to jump and hold forwards and right. So I'm not actually moving anywhere, but you'll see I'm building up this momentum, because when I swap to holding forwards and left and go around here, I'm already going at max speed. And this works, you know, if I just kind of accelerate up around here, jumping around, so, you know, get to about max speed, this is about it, and I can jump and I can stop, so I'm holding forwards and left here just into this wall to make sure that I don't actually go anywhere, but when I move away, I'm still going really, really fast. So what this means is there's basically no reason to ever stop jumping and holding two directional keys at once in Dusk World. As long as you have the kind of, you know, idea of where you're going, you can get there really, really fast. And as long as you can hit the shots to back it up too, you know, there's no reason to ever stop. Okay, so like I said, it just works if you're holding two directional keys. So I'm holding forwards and left, forwards and right, but I can swap just as easily to back and left and back and right. And you can swap between forwards and backwards very, very effectively. There's no penalty to swapping direction, in fact. You can continue to kind of build up this momentum while you do it. And so a good place to practice this, I think, is up on these stairs. You can really get used to this idea of, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, kind of move around and change direction. And even better is if you can do it without moving the mouse at all. If you can just use these directional keys to get up, and, you know, you can swap so cleanly that you don't lose speed, you're doing pretty well. Now once you're going fast, and now this is a great map to practice on, by the way, because it has a lot of nice 90-degree corners for you to kind of get used to this change in direction on. Once you're going fast, you can swap away from the two keys. You can just go to one. You will slowly decelerate if you, for example, you know, take your finger off the left and right and just go to W, but you can kind of arc yourself around with it, and it's easy to pick back up into speed. Just really just play around with this and get a feel for it, because it's so easy to build up speed. Alright, so once you're used to this kind of movement, a really good challenge to set yourself on this map is jumping across to the Hallowed Health. It's a little bit finicky here on this platform in the middle of nowhere. There are lots of good different places you can come from, so like coming from up here, I was going too fast, so I've got to kind of do some swapping. And yeah, if you can jump across from the pillars, that's really great. There is a little setup, see, that wouldn't have quite picked it up. There's a little setup I like to use. If you come over to this doorway and you kind of jump into it, and you kind of accelerate into this doorway, and then you can be going the right speed as you come out of it. That's a fairly consistent way I find to get up there. It's a really finicky jump, so if you can pull that off every time when you want to in an actual match, you're in a really, really good place. Another important aspect of the Dusk World movement is the slide. So if you're moving and you press down crouch, you're going to slide away. And if you've played single player, you're probably familiar with this. Given I played multiplayer first, I actually didn't know this was a thing until I played the single player. It's not very useful, given how easy it is to go fast with, you know, this, like, air control physics. The slide is really only good for closing distance in a hurry for an opponent that isn't, you know, kind of moving, to get a shotgun shot off or to get some melees off. It's not the most useful thing with how powerful the jumping physics are. You can also rocket jump with the Riveter. And so, you know, if you kind of point it down and shoot and jump, you can get up to high places. I find the jump height is a little bit inconsistent, so a little setup we've found is if you kind of go up on a step and shoot down. Now this is a little bit, yeah, you have to be over halfway on the step. You have to be hanging out over halfway, so that wasn't quite enough. But once you are, you get pretty much a perfect height jump every single time. And this can be a really effective way to get up to the Mega, or the Hallowed Health rather. If you kind of stand here, not quite. So it can be hard to set up in motion in a game, but if you can get up there consistently with that every time, you're doing pretty well. So there's actually another trick with the rocket launcher here. If you jump up into a ceiling, you know, it kind of stops you, right? But as it turns out, not every ceiling has the property that it'll stop your momentum after a rocket jump. So if we come over to, for example, the skybox, well, not the skybox, but, you know, the ceiling of the map, you're going to see we kind of stick to it. We keep our upwards momentum, and actually we can stick ourselves up here fairly effectively and kind of cling to the ceiling by rocket jumping repeatedly. It's very, very silly. It's a bug I'm sure will get patched, or they'll kind of fix their roofs. But there are a few sneaky places. You used to be able to do it in this room here and stick to the roof. Yeah, here's a spot. So yeah, you might be able to find some sneaky little places where you can abuse that, where you can use it to catch your opponents off guard maybe, or make unintended jumps. So let me know if you find anything weird with that. Alright, we're here on the map Clifftop, or Cliffside I think, and I'm going to talk about one more little quirk of the movement here. So in Dusk, any surface that, as long as it isn't vertical, it can be climbed up, basically. So like I can hang on to this tree here, even though it's a very, very steep slope, I can cling onto this tree for my dear life. And there are a few places in the single player and the multiplayer where this gets a little bit ridiculous. For example, there is no way you should be able to climb up this surface, but you can do it, right? All you have to do is jump. All you have to do is believe and jump, and you can climb sheer rock walls. It's truly inspirational. One more important note on jumping in Duskworld is that I have jump bound to right mouse button, which may sound a bit odd to some people. It's very much a Quake thing to do, and part of the reason for that is that in Quake you can buffer jumps. So this is something that is in most Quake family games. It's not in Counter-Strike, but in Quake if you jump and then hold the jump key again just before you land, you will automatically jump the second you touch the ground. This is different to Counter-Strike where people use mouse wheel to jump. In Counter-Strike, you know, you scroll the mouse wheel as you're about to jump, it fires out a million jump commands, and one of them probably goes through around the time you touch the ground and is able to, you know, kind of make you jump without losing too much speed. In Quake this is overkill, so, you know, we only need one button, and a lot of people use the right mouse button. Dusk is like Quake in this regard. You can buffer your jumps, and so I really recommend, if you've never tried jumping with the right mouse button before, you try it out for this game. In Dusk, there's no reason to ever stop jumping, so you're going to be pressing this button a lot, and I find mashing spacebars really, really tedious. So, you know, even if I didn't use this in basically every FPS I play, I think right mouse would be a logical choice to try out, at least to try out. You know, try it, guys. Let me know what you think. Alright, so these are some tips on optimizing your Duskworld game, or your Dusk single player game. You know, this stuff is definitely applicable. I have been flying through Dusk single player, literally. I've been having such a blast, just completely abusing the movement, trying to climb up to places where the developers clearly didn't want you to get, you know, just seeing how far I could push this. So have fun with this, you know, be sure to share your clips of this game. This game looks absolutely mad. I look forward to seeing videos of people doing crazy things, of speedruns and all that. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you learned something, and I'll catch you next time.